Hi there. Making a vlog in response to another video that I just watched with the title Miley Cyrus leaked sex tape, which was in fact a video about Syria and showing how eager we are to watch a video of Miley Cyrus and anything that involves celebrities and sex and Hollywood much more than we care about Syria, and which is one of the main reasons for why the problem in Syria doesn't get solved is because we simply don't care. And so, I mean, how can we expect our government to really care if we don't? Because, I mean, we are the government, otherwise we're living in a dictatorship. And so the point that I wanted to discuss with regards to this video is especially the point where they mentioned that um, that the U.S. government warned Syria about using chemical warfare, and that after that warning, and that the U.S. government said, well, if you use chemical warfare, then we might intervene. Then that would be a reason for us to go and intervene and react to you. And so after that warning, what did Syria do? They used chemical warfare. So, I mean, it doesn't really take a genius to figure out that this has been almost like deliberately, like a deliberate act. So why is that? Why could Syria possibly deliberately do something to deliberately provoke a US reaction? Because they knew they knew that the US is going to fucking react and so bomb the shit out of their country if they used chemical warfare. And so they did. I mean, not because it would get them to really win the war. It doesn't even benefit them because, I mean, there was this entire discussion about who did it. They don't even know who did it. Was it the rebels? Was it the regime? They don't even fucking know. And so it had no benefit whatsoever, but it happened. Right after the US warned that, if you're gonna do that, we're gonna attack you. Okay, and so that's an interesting point because, I mean, obviously then this was done to deliberately instigate war, to to fuel companies that benefit from warfare, because, I mean, consider also the point that ending war does not happen through more war. Ending war does not happen through more and more weapons and attacks. Ending war is I mean, there are so many ways to end conflict that does not involve weaponry, that does not involve killing thousands and millions of people, that does not involve any form of chemical warfare, that does not even have to involve conflict. There are so many ways to end conflict, for instance, by simply looking at what it is that people really want. What are people really fighting for? What are people really afraid of? And then looking at the possibilities of, okay, how can we make sure that people have what they want, that people, which is usually the simple things, just fucking survival, a nice safe place for their family. And so most wars start on the basis of people simply having nothing, people being stolen from and abused, and so they have no other way out than to revolt, than to raise conflict, to simply be heard and be seen by the international community. I mean, so whenever there's a war, it's really more about these people who don't really care about what is best for everyone. People who deliberately want war because it benefits them in some way. For instance, corporations that sell weapons, because war is never a solution for the people themselves. So you always have to look at like the big guys, the corporations, the government officials, the ones who already have money and power and who just want more. And so whenever there is such a decision being made, such as the America deciding to react to the war in Syria by bombing the shit out of these people and by sending troops and by sending guns and weaponry and stuff, whenever there's such a decision and reaction being made, you have to, I mean, you should be aware and you should realize that it's not because it would be best for the people, but it's always because somebody wants more money, because of some corporation that needs that form of conflict and war to be able to produce and sell more of their products, which is usually weapons, corporations that make weapons. Because when you really want to end a war, what will end war? Fucking peace, you know? I mean, and what is required for peace is for people to simply fucking stop fighting. So, I mean, there's so many possible ways to end war. For instance, just, it would be so much, it would make more sense to simply, for instance, take out the few people that want all the power and all the money, than to wipe out, than to attack the whole country, you know, because what do the citizens have to do with that one person's greed for power? I mean, these people have nothing to do with it, so why are we attacking them? It doesn't make any sense, and yet it's always the citizens who are the victim of every war, and it's never those in power who have started the war in the first place that get hurt. I mean, they always are the ones who remain in power, and the only ones who get killed is the people who have nothing to do with the war in the first place. All of it just doesn't make sense. And so that's just a point that I want to shed a light on here, because it's just something that we tend to miss when we listen to the news, or that when we read the news, because like the things that the news reports is like their side of the story. It's like the way they want us to understand the story, so that when shit hits the fan, we are powerless and we don't know what the fuck is going on, and we just go along with everything because we don't really have any insight in what's really happening, and we don't really understand how we can solve things, because we've never learned to apply common sense within these kind of situations. Because, for instance, war and the entire way that we wage war, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. It's just entirely industry based, it's entirely profit based, where a lot of propaganda, a lot of money is being spent on propaganda to brainwash people into accepting, or in some way believing, that this war is just or right, or in some way explainable, or in some way good, or that we are still intelligent people for doing this, which is not the case in any way whatsoever. So I mean, these are all points that need to be thoroughly investigated, because so that we can realize just the extent to which we have allowed ourselves to become brainwashed, because we never took it upon ourselves to simply stop for a moment and really investigate what's going on in this world, because we never had the tools to support ourselves within that process. And so I would suggest to everyone to go and investigate the Destiny organization and the Equal Life Foundation, where we do present tools, practical tools that anyone can apply to start the process of self-investigation, to start the process of real life investigation of everything that exists, of our entire world, of ourselves, of how it has been possible in the first place for us to have been brainwashed to this extent. And most importantly, investigate what is exactly the problem in this world, what are the problems, and how can we solve them, so that we can actually stand grounded in this world, stable, and make decisions based on a clear insight in what is best for everyone and what will produce the best results. That is what we at Destiny stand for, and we invite everyone to join us. Thank you.